Welcome to the first round table.
Welcome to the first round table. The only Dust round table you'll be at this Fanfest. And yes, few people, but it's not something we didn't expect. But, we'll be happy to answer all your questions, and we'll share all the whatever we discuss, and basically all our secrets. We'll try to kind of document them and put them out on the forums as well. Yeah, so I'm not going to have a long presentation. This is basically just an intro and a review of what's happened, how we've gone about it, and how we intend to move on in progress. So I'm just going to get started, and feel free to intervene whenever you want. I'm going to stand here, and then I'm going to sit down when the QA starts. So this is me, Sisi Murakari, Snorre, and Vlad. Sisi Frame. Didn't know. CPM is here. Sir Manboy, Cross, Denny, Soraya. Feel free to use your real name whenever you want.
Denny's my real name.
Sometimes I don't know what. Yes, so past, present, and future, and then Q&A. The past, as we went through the timeline, we've done hotfixes alpha through echo. After last Fanfest, we basically kind of were in cool down for a while, and then we started to kind of revisit our approach to Dust, and we started doing like these small iterations. Alpha was tiny. I just looked at what we did in Alpha, Beta, and Bravo, and Delta, and they grew in size and what we wanted to try to do. So Alpha was a test, and Bravo was real. Charlie was a huge one. And Echo is actually, one of the biggest ones we've done to date, with loads of new content. But the main focus was to get rid of what we call it, the stagnating meta that we had. We only had one kind of way to run or go about killing other people. So we basically tried to introduce new content by fixing existing content and try to bring back things that were underused or unbalanced and underpowered. That's why I call it content, but we also added a lot of new content through, mainly for new player experience, so more militia gear that people get into, quicker and faster. And all this was done by basically looking at data, working with feedback, trying to address or kind of figure out what was going on basically, create the narrative for each hotfix, and then share the numbers immediately when they were ready, or actually before they were ready, and then kind of show finalized numbers and then just shove it out there. This has been working very well. I don't know, I think the first time we did this was the first time we did it at CCP actually. This kind of methodology, sharing the numbers in Google Docs, etc. So I think we've broken quite a few kind of walls with these initiatives. But after we basically demonstrated that Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie were successes, we kind of thought maybe, what if we just go ahead and add more content through releases. Releases are always a bigger thing. We have to go through Sony FQA and kind of there's a lot more kind of logistics about doing releases. But we kind of said, let's go for it. We threw in a lot of content that we had into Operation 1.9. So that was basically existing content that we'd never shipped before. Now the maps and sockets, more kind of content. Operation 1.10 was a lot of kind of new features, but I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but a lot of them were focused on the new player. Daily missions were kind of our replacement for new player experience. Instead of doing a tutorial to tell you how to shoot people that most people know how to do, we kind of tried to train you in capturing objectives, kill people, claim things, win battles, not just participate, etc. So trying to reward the right behavior. And Warlords 1 was excellent. It was really fun to work on. We're trying to use it was kind of a foundation for further work. So the warbards, the 2D warbards that everyone seems to like for various reasons, was basically the foundation. You know that there are 14 empty slots there. We've only used 5 of them for Warlords. So we're hoping to be able to add more easy new features into the Warlords and use that for Planetary Conquest as well. So what we have been doing, I think that's been the breakthrough for Dust, is that we went completely back to the roots of open development. Way, I think, again, more than our EVE Online brothers have been doing in the past. We already had the CPM, and they've been, magnificent, to say the least. It's been really important to have that channel, be able to talk to them daily on Skype, and they run their own Trello board that I can take a look at and see, what their priorities are, and then we do regular video conferences as well. So they haven't been to Shanghai yet, and breaking your hearts, but I don't think it's going to happen actually in this CPM, maybe the next one. So maybe it should run for the next one as well. We actually published an open public development roadmap that I'm not going to show here, but it's on Trello. You can just Google Dust 514 development roadmap, and you'll see it. I'll talk about the next features a little bit later. And then we have the community crowdsourcing Trello, which is basically people request access, and I let them in one by one, and there's probably, let's say, 80 plus people on that Trello creating. It's basically, if you've all played EVE, it's like Stoffer's all the small things, but instead of doing it on a thread where you have to kind of salvage through that thread and pick out and then edit, we're basically letting the people, or the players, add their own ideas and vote on them, so they automatically kind of rise to the top, the ones that the community recommends that we do. I go on to that Trello every once in a while, try to do it kind of bi-weekly at least, comment on them, say no, that's not going to happen, good idea, etc. So from that, I actually source to my own big board of things. You can also Google that. That's basically my, whiteboard. I write more or less everything that comes to mind, and I try to cite sources when I can, but sometimes I just type out smart things that someone said and try it. But that's all our ideas, and in various stages of let's say, development. And then, of course, the Dust 514 forums, they're always lively. It's a miserable Shark Tank to some people. I enjoy it. Sometimes it kind of gets to me, but it's still a great place to be. And if you, and Frame runs kind of a bi-weekly review of the forums, the health, posted authors, etc. And we can see it remains healthy. There's a lot of activity, and we can also see that the anger has resided a lot. Like, there used to be a lot of just angry, flaming, hate going on. Now it's more like, hey, like, why don't we, etc. So it's gone from a Shark Tank to a hippie commune. 9 months. But yeah, so those are our channels, and we have the CPM. That's a CCP thing. The other 3 are new, so I'm very happy to use those. So at the current state of the game, actually, I try to kind of find the right ways to say it, but I think we have more choice, we have fairer fights, and more fun. That's the kind of what's happening. Definitely, if you just look at the kill feed, you're seeing almost every single weapon that is in the game. There's no longer just the X, just the Y, and you're getting killed by everything. So there's a lot of frantic fun. There's no stupid choice. You can do almost whatever you want. So I think that adds flavor. No cookie cutter builds, etc. So everything's viable and everything's fun, I think. And we know what's wrong, and we'll try to address that in what's upcoming, basically. The things that we did kind of to get to that point was just balance. All these hotfixes have been kind of addressing broken things or underpowered things, and we've reached a very nice equilibrium across the rifles and the drop suits. We fixed the team builder logic, so it now tries to, I'm hesitant to say it, but instead of random teams, we try to make fair teams. That was just not a part of the matchmaking logic, because of reasons. We have a lot of new content, and we've done our best to try to fix the nuclear experience. We just recently did a survey to kind of say, okay, to identify why the nuclear experience, what's wrong with it, what can we fix, what's the main reason you didn't like the game, to players who spent basically just a day and never came back. And actually, it wasn't performance, it wasn't weapons. The question that we thought was going to give us the answer was, I'm killed too often. And then there was a question that it's too hard to kill people. And they both had the same answer issue. So something that's not the problem, obviously. So basically it's high TTK or low TTK, and both had the same kind of response. So that's not the problem. The problem wasn't performance or graphics or assets or anything of that nature. It was, I don't feel like I'm progressing. That was the main thing. Like my first 3 battles give me nothing, is probably the simple answer. So we'll try to address that as well. So we have a firm roadmap for the next 2 releases. We have on the docket performance improvements above all. So we basically we've known all along. It's just hard to fix some of these issues that we had. So we tried to go, approach it from a different way and say, okay, what are the other things that we can do? We can't really fix a lot of, we can't raise the frames per second, just by doing stuff. We've already done all the things that we think we can do on, the code base itself. So we went back to try to find smart things to do. So we're trying to alleviate load on the client by, some of these things are deleting emails after 30 days, clearing chat channels, remove the contact, the small avatars, from the client, etc. All this stuff is, it's easy to do, but it's not fixing the frame rate, but it's giving us more kind of frame rate from a different angle. We have new content, improvements to existing content. One of those is a new game mode that is coming out in the next release. You can all kind of tweet that at some point. It is the acquisition game mode, which is basically, you may know the name from MAG, but it's basically a more dynamic battlefield instead of the kind of skirmish ambush domination mode that we have. And it has a movable objective from, let's say, 25 possible positions. It will be at one point of those every 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And then you have to hack it, claim it, and then it's going to move. So there's going to be way more new tactics involved. You can't just camp out, you can't just bring your tank, you have to kind of anticipate, you have to have scouts, covering the battlefield. You'll have to move quickly, so dropships, etc. are going to have a bigger meaning. And we hope to kind of reinvigorate a lot of the matches by using this. Then we have matchmaking. We're testing the new code that we have. It's ready. It's going to bring a lot of. It's basically splitting the player base in 2, based on kind of quality or say skill. And we're using just classical ELO true skill methodology that other games use. And we're trying to kind of get the new players fighting each other and the veterans fighting each other in a much kind of stronger way. Trading, that's coming. That's also something that people have asked for years. We are definitely, it is happening. So it's going to be finally, you can send to your corp, you can send to your CEO, you can trade, whatever, So that's a huge win. I think that's something that all the veterans will enjoy, not just because it's going to be fun and kind of, revive a lot of the, why am I collecting this, what I do with all this stuff, I can't use it, I don't want to use it, but you can trade it for something else. It opens up a lot of the kind of, there is no pay to win in Dust, but still, if you want to keep talking about that and insisting, then this will basically eliminate pay to win concerns. You can trade whatever item you want. We will, however, try to kind of limit, we're going to unlock it a step at a time. We can't just open it up. I'm guessing ISK items are the first things to come. ISK or Aura items actually. BPOs, boosters, this will all come, but maybe at some increments. We'll keep working on user experience and give more feedback to people. The first battle, after the first battle, nothing happens. You won something, you got some skill points, you got some ISK, and now you're just standing there. There's not even hey, good job, man. Do you want to spend those skill points? There's nothing. There's literally nothing. So we're going to try to work on some of those things. And then planetary conquest. Some of you who listen to Biomask were kind of, what? When I said planetary conquest is the primary thing that I love about Dust 514. I desperately want to fix it, so we've already discussed it a lot, but we have a firm roadmap of what's happening in planetary conquest. We are bringing back passive, or not passive ISK, but we're bringing back income from districts. That's one thing. We're going to add command points if you haven't been following the forums. Basically, you earn command points by finishing daily missions for your corporation, and then you can spend those command points on various things, such as attacking, etc. We have a brand new UI for the district, so you don't have to go into the star map, that exhilarating user experience, to go down 3 steps, no, wrong planet, back up, 3 down, okay, no, wrong, etc. So we're bringing back, using some of that .land kind of view of our districts for simplified attacking, but also just, you can show new players Planetary Conquest at a glance. This is what happened. You're not a part of the corporation, but you can at least see that stuff is happening. So people should be fighting over districts again, and an awesome thing that we're adding is also, the reason why you do Planetary Conquest is not ISK. Well, it used to be, but ISK is, maybe trivial to some people by now. So we are going to add something like a new currency called District, or let's call it Planetary Trade Goods or something, which will be tradable for unique stuff in another store, the Planet Store or whatever. None of these names are ready, but that's the only place where you get that. You can earn it, and then you can buy from that store, and then you can trade it if you want to. So there's cool stuff happening. And that's the end of my kind of introduction. I wanted to talk about 3 discussion points. You feel free to not talk about it if you want to, and then after these we can have Q&A. But the 3 questions are, now that we've introduced bunny rabbits to Dust 514, a lot of people say we're kind of going from the roots of EVE Online. We're breaking New Eden seriousness. Shouldn't have fun. Should not have colors. So I disagree with those things, but I think we should be able to kind of express our artistic freedom a little bit in Dust. I met actually a couple of people who are just incredibly happy about the new suits that we introduced. Just the Kaldari, and the call to Eve through that is also kind of, we can take something from Eve and kind of make it a little bit more, exuberant, if you. So I want to live in New Eden, but I don't want to adhere to all of EVE Online's religious rules, such as, one of the things is differing colors of lasers because of, some EVE lore, high something red, low something ultraviolet, etc. This is going to be very hard to express in an FPS game. So I think, you know, we could also have just good laser green, bad laser red or something, but, you know, some of that stuff. So feel free to, you know, elaborate on that, what can we do to make us feel more a part of New Eden without taking the rules and applying them, something else. My idea was skyboxes, more dynamic skyboxes with, you know, Eve ships in the background, instead of just kind of some visual links, etc. Making planetary conquest lucrative but not exploitable to all. How would Eve players want to, you know, what can we do to be a part of the economy without, you know, being, you know, exploitable or useless? You know, my dream was always that we created, like, you could get some matter on planet districts where no one else could get that stuff, and you'd need that to get high-end quality ships in Eve or something like that. That's always been my kind of simplest link with Eve. And then the progression question is I'm not very familiar with Eve, and I don't know how good it feels to go from ship 1 to ship 2 or ship 2 to ship 3. What's the power curve, etc. But, you know, everyone wants to invest skill points, they want to earn skill points, and it has to be meaningful, but it can't be OP. So that's also, you know, something that I'd like to discuss. But otherwise, these are questions that I'd like to discuss, but if you have other questions, you can basically just sit down and take questions. All right. Here. If no one asks, it's going to be awkward. All right.
Wait,
First question.
I have quite bad coordination problems. One of the barriers, I'm still all this time later, still kind of stuck in a new player mode.
Yeah.
I'm finding it very hard to learn the controls.
Yeah.
Because I'm in an environment where I move somewhere and suddenly I'm dead again. I'm respawning. I think I'm moving now and I'm dead again. I don't have any safe place to just learn how to move.
Yeah. This is something that we've been exploring actually, and, you know, this is not a promise or anything, but we've wanted to try to get in a kind of a 32-player non-PvP game mode, which would just have, you know, pretty dumb drones that would, you know, behave like installations. They'd have some aggro radius, and, you know, if you can avoid them, you don't go too close to them. They're not going to do anything to you, so you can kind of pick your targets and shoot them. They'll return fire, but it shouldn't be like really terrible. You could just kind of flee maybe or kill them faster. That is where we want to go. We are experimenting with this. We already have this rudimentary AI. We'd have to introduce these drone models. We already have a few of them. We've experimented a little bit in-house. So that is our preferred method of kind of getting the new player in. So you may basically you might get 3 of those missions, and all you can do is earn 20 war points for killing these drones, maybe some ISK or something. But, you know, that kind of safe environment with some AI would be our preferred option. That would give you a way to also try out new weapons. You know, like, okay, I unlocked some new thing. I'm gonna try it against a drone instead of being like thrown out. The new matchmaking logic should also help with not just being instantly killed by other people, but that is still like a, you know, FPS gaming is still that. Every once in a while, you never have a chance. It's a staple of FPSs.
Yeah, and I think these training grounds would also be good for earning new vehicles when you, for example, discover a assault dropship and you are not good enough on dropships and stuff like that. Because if you try it on the actual on a skirmish, and you start losing assault dropships, that's going to cost you a lot of this.
Yep. Yes. I've not mastered the art of dropships at all. So I use them to fly to somewhere and then eject. Crash. And just I have loads of militia or dropships to use for that purpose. So no, I agree. I agree completely. especially with the dropships. So that's what people complained a little bit when we removed it from ambush. It was a place to also have a little bit of some freedom to try out. But that's a good idea. Yes?
Yeah, redlining, like hiding behind red lines,
Yeah.
become well, both good and bad, I guess, depending on the map. It's highly diverse, can be used as in different means, so it's really good for sniping.
Yes. Yeah.
And obviously running in with a scout, you can get quite far into the red field if you get an enemy rocket or something, but you just die. There's no kind of natural explanation why you actually.
Yeah. It's not a good lore.
It would be amazing if the mothership or whatever just actually shot you and you had a slight chance of going around.
Ah, interesting.
But that'd be amazing, or it was a minefield or whatever. That'd be great. But as you can actually move so far into the red field now with a fast scout, with a fast vehicle, you have vehicles into it and keep tanks that are redlining. There is going around for sniping. It's actually a benefit to stay in the red line, and it's actually quite hard to counteract it, especially with the now more numerous players and senior and sniper rifles that are quite powerful.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that, that there was something from like MCC or something like that would try to kill you. And from the time you enter red line, it wouldn't be as accurate at first, but it would come to the point where you just, it will automatically kill you.
Yep.
That it might extend your time to how long you can survive in the red line hunting the sniper, but the more you stay there, the more accurate the guns,
Yep. Absolutely. You can also OB them though. Just earn your OBs. No, absolutely. I don't think any FPS actually explains why there's some guard around the perimeter. There's just kills people that
The
exit
the
the.
natural enemy. It's huge problem.
Yeah, but I do like the mines thing. That would be pretty good. But yeah, this is a good idea. Redlining is actually we're trying to address it just by map design. We're trying to get more just simple spawn points into the maps. Also portals, if someone has not been watching the forums, my preferred thing would to be like you save spawn points in the red line, and then you have portals somewhere on the like this. So you have the spawn points, and here's the red line. So you can always spawn in the red line for safety. If some evil bastards are here, you could use the portals to get behind them, but not all the way to the objectives. So there'd be some tactical, like, here's your safe place. You can use that to jump ahead, or you can also just move up and use your uplinks. But this could help us save you from the red line problem. It's not going to be the perfect answer, and maybe people think it's a gimmick. So we're actually going to try some of these in a later map. We're just going to make copies of the current maps and have some with portals, some with not, and kind of try that out. If people hate them, we'll just pull them out of rotation. It's the simplest way to do it. Just try them. So that's the issue of redlining. But sadly, it's a gimmick. Questions? Someone want to comment on the Eve lore thing?
Yeah. The question. I'm a very much casual gamer, so I'm an Eve gamer at heart. But I've played Dust since it was launched. I've been in and out. I came back in a few weeks ago, and it's surprising how much it's changed in 6 months. One of my questions is how much of the player base is casual gamers. Have you got any stats on how much time people put in? Is there a very small core of hardcore gamers that put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and a broad spectrum of shorter time gamers and people who sort of dabble, as it were?
It's a difficult game like Eve. So we have a constant flux of new players, just like Eve does, and not all of them stay. Just like Eve, you've seen the chart, like Here Be Dragons. It's so those who stay, they tend to stay, just like Eve. So there's not it's almost 50-50 of new players and just people who won't leave. There's so those who are not, they we have graphs of basically on average play 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 8, 12 plus battles per day, and there's a huge percentage of the player base that actually plays 12 plus, spends more than 3 hours a day in the game, logs in more than 16 days a month, etc. So there's those who get through, just like Eve, they stick forever, and I think we're getting a lot of them back actually through these iterations that we've been doing, and they kind of come back and, hey, what's happening? This is fun, and then they just fall into line, like they never left. So it's pretty good in that way for us. I just want to convert more people, and EVE Online has had the problem for 12 years to convert more people.
The earlier stage progression is going to help that a lot. Because even though I'm technically a dev, and I jumped in the game I started getting in the game every month or so, more like a casual gamer would. And I know that's not the best from the skill progression, but I like to do that to see where things are. And I think improving the skill progression so that you feel like you're advancing faster is really going to make a difference for those people trying it out or coming back, like you after 6 months.
Yeah, I mean that's where I was going to take it. I mean the problem is more than anything, I can't commit huge amounts of time, especially with Eve. They're sort of fighting each other, and the question's up there: how can you strengthen the Eve lore connection? I mean that's something that drew me back in, and it's this constant drip feed. And I mean I think the connection to Eve is something that's important. Just news, events. The Eve guys love their lore, and I got drawn back into Dust because I'm picking up on things happening in Dust through the Eve side. So it might not be a pure, tying the lore together, but just making events, the storylines, the narratives in what's happening in Eve tie together. Mm-hmm. And Planetary Conquest as well. Again, I wouldn't necessarily be able to commit to joining a call, being able to be involved in all of the battles and the time and the meta game that's involved in that, but having some access to it as a casual, semi-casual player, and I know there are other game modes, but part of what draws people into Eve and keeps in there is being able to carve out your little space, your part of the world, and I think Planetary Conquest is Dust's take on that, and I think it's important for it. It says not exploitable, but to all, and I think being able to make it to all, including those casual players, even if you can just have how you would do that, I don't know, but
we actually have
something that would really tie me in and keep me in.
We're trying to basically allow you to get a foothold by having a roaming equivalent. If you are online with 6, 8, 10, 12 of your corporation buddies, we're trying to, and you don't have districts, we're trying to incorporate basically a spin-up match where you go to that district list and you just find the right target that a reinforcement timer is opening up or low on clones or something, and just attack them. You're not going to be able to win the district by doing this. That's what we call raiding, but you might be able to at least earn your losses. Have fun, 8 people, because if you spin up a district attack, you're going to have to wait 24 hours, and then say, hey guys, let's meet up tomorrow. And that's not really what we want to do. So we want to inspire some casual raiding basically into Planetary Conquest. Even to the point that you want to soften up a target. You might raid it a couple of times and then you do the proper clone attack or district attack. So that's where we're really going to do that.
How about all men?
That somebody could, even add a contract that, if somebody raids the place, some third party will pay them,
That's doable. Yeah, let's say it's conceivable.
Like what we could have, like in my code, we might have, 8, maybe 10 guys at max. Just go raid a place, get some money out of it, pick in a target, and just do like a mercenary job.
Yep. That would be. We could basically call some of the raiding NPC contracts. You could also do that, and then you could say, okay, we'd want you to do it, player contracts, we haven't been able to implement them yet. So, it's a good idea, but at least masking some of these rates as kind of contracts is a pretty kind of back to the lore thing. Yes?
One of the things that's interested the players like myself early on about Dust is having more of the kind of economic relationship with the Dust players, being able to build things for them, buying salvage off them to be processed, build more things to sell to them. Is there any chance of that coming in?
So, we haven't even had trading until now, and a lot of those kind of things were caused by over complexity, overthinking things instead of just going and kind of looking at the end game of where it should be, or what the vision was, basically what Hilmar was talking about, and that vision paralyzed everything, all execution up until then, because you couldn't do this because that was somewhere in the future. You couldn't have simple trading because at some point ISK needs to flow between the games, and you can't ruin the economy. So all these things kind of paralyzed that decision. So that's why I pressed for simple trading. Send item to another player, receive ISK from another player. Like that's the core principle of trading. It's not a perfect World of Warcraft auction house with all kinds of bells and whistles, but it's at least a start. That start, taking the item from one player to another, immediately opens up my hope of being relevant to EVE somehow through planetary conquest. And that would be dark matter or antimatter or something that can only be found in districts, etc., that EVE needs. And that was always kind of my dream on this was, we need them to hold this so we can get this, so we can dominate in EVE and build an even better Titan or whatever. That was kind of something we wanted. For me, it didn't have to be like, the over complexity of, we're going to move your clone troops in an EVE ship from this planet to another planet, and EVE players can destroy that and then kind of foil all your plans by destroying them in orbit or something. It's just a logistical nightmare for everyone. No one's going to want to do that. So we try to do the smart, simple things.
A simpler version of what I was suggesting.
Yep.
We've already got loyalty point stores
Yes.
for the EVE players. The idea that some of the ISK items that can be bought from the store are actually being EVE players can make and sell in return for a small trickle of loyalty points, which they can then use in a Dust player, a mercenary loyalty store, maybe to get some items which are only available from other sources,
Yeah.
or unique to that source.
I would love to incorporate something that has an effect other than kind of a part of the economy. I don't know what that is, and we'll keep on working on it. That's one good idea. There's a few others, but they are all technically difficult always, joining these economies without kind of breaking something. So we'll try to find the right thing.
Unfortunately, we'll have to wrap up.
Oh,
Because, yeah, we're already over the time. So,
Okay.
let's continue this offline as well. Like, we will be outside and just hang out. Because we have to
right now. Oh,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I thought it was like a courteous 10-minute
And we're
warning.
yeah, we got 5-minute warning already. So yeah, sorry guys. But at 3, from 3 to 4, there's going to be community panel as well. So all the community related questions and everything else will be there. Also, with the whole community. But yeah, Radani just bug him. He'll be around and he'll be doing nothing.
I have nothing
anyway,
to do with the rest of Fanfest.
Exactly. So just like tackle him the moment you see him.
I still have to eat though,
Yeah.
at some point. Yes.